We're going to start with 307 in the Machaber with number 2. Also, liskar poilim v'leilam aleni Yehudi liskar lepoilim b'Shabbos. It's forbidden to hire workers or to tell a non-Jew to hire workers on Shabbos. Even if you don't need that work done until after Shabbos. Whatever you're not allowed to do on Shabbos, also you can't tell a non-Jew to do. Even to tell him before Shabbos to do it on Shabbos is also awesome. After Shabbos, you can tell him, why didn't you do this for me on the previous Shabbos? Even though he'll understand from his words that he wants him to do it on the next Shabbos. Okay, so everything besides the last thing there is pretty obvious based on what we've been learning. You can't tell a goy to do work for you after Shabbos if it's on Shabbos, because you're talking about forbidden work, even though he's not doing it on Shabbos. You can't tell a goy before Shabbos, do work for me on Shabbos, because then he's your shaliach, even though you're not talking about it on Shabbos. However, here we're doing something new. If you tell him after Shabbos, hey, why didn't you do this and that for me on Shabbos? Now, you're not telling him to do it. You're just saying, why didn't you do it in the past tense? You're not telling him to do it in the future. He's supposed to realize, he wants me to do it. Okay. So then he goes ahead and does it. So then it's allowed. I'm sorry? No, for next Shabbos. You tell him after Shabbos, why didn't you, I was trying to go to sleep. Didn't you see the light was on? I wasn't able to sleep. Why didn't you turn it off? The guy understands, next time I see that, I should really take care. So the Alter Rebbe explains that this is only allowed if you're not going to benefit from what he's doing. If you get a direct benefit, you have to stop him from doing it, like lighting a light. It's only when it comes to like extinguishing a light, where it's not considered direct benefit, because he's not creating the darkness, he's just taking away the light, and so on. So that's a case where you're allowed to say this. You're not allowed to say this if it's something that you would have to stop him when he comes to do it on his own. Because what's the purpose of giving him this hint if anyway next time he comes to do it, you're going to have to stop him? There's no point. It's just a case where you're not going to have to stop him because you're not getting a direct benefit. So then you could hint to him about this thing. And for that matter, on Shabbos, you could also hint to him and say, it's very dark in here, and sleep, I'd let it turn it off, it's Shabbos, I can't ask anybody to turn it off, you know what I'm saying? All that sort of thing. But only because you're not getting a direct benefit. Any case you get a direct benefit, all the hints in the world are not going to help because you actually have to stop him even when he comes to do it. So what's the hint going to help? Let me just open this door. Okay, we are doing 307 in the Machaber, and we are starting with Gimel. We already started with Beis, but we're continuing with Gimel. You're not allowed to give money to a non-Jew on Erev Shabbos and tell him, hey, do me a favor, buy this and this for me on Shabbos. Because you're sending him to do work for you on Shabbos. That's clear. But you can tell him, do me a favor, buy it for yourself. It's a market day coming. The guys who come to sell only come on Shabbos. You need it. Can't tell him to buy it for you. Tell him to buy it for himself. If I need it, I'll buy it from you after Shabbos. So that's okay. You're telling him to do work with his own things before Shabbos. You're not talking about it on Shabbos. You're not telling him to do it for you. You're telling him to do it for himself. After Shabbos, you'll come along and you'll buy it from him. Daled. Mutter losis leni Yehudi mois me'erev Shabbos liknes loy u'belvad shelo yirma leknei b'Shabbos. Not only can you tell him to buy it for himself, you can even give him money. Buy it for himself. I'm going to lend you money. You're going to buy it for yourself.
What are we on right now? I just joined.
We're on Shin Zayin Dalet 3074. We're learning about a situation where there's a marketplace, a market day going on Shabbos, and you want a piece of that market. You want to buy some stuff, but obviously you can't send the Jew to the guy to buy it for you. You can buy it for yourself. That goes without saying. So you're going to tell him he should buy it for himself, and maybe you'll buy it from him after Shabbos. Not only that, the Mechaber is adding here, you can even give him money to buy it. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is not where he's buying it for himself. You can give him money to buy it for you, as long as you don't say buy it on Shabbos. Do me a favor, if you happen to come across a nice cow, big fat cow, I'm a butcher, I need to be able to sell. And, if you happen to come across a really nice animal like that, buy it for me.
The groceries, you could go like anything. It's not a shliach.
Yeah, he is a shliach. I didn't tell him to do it on Shabbos. You can do it on Sunday. You can do it on Friday. You can do it whenever you want. You can't tell him to do it on Shabbos. So he's a kablan. He's not doing it in your property. He's not using your kalim. He's using your money, but he's not using your kalim.
And you know he's going to do it.
Even kalim, no, I take it back. Kalim, even your kalim, you can do. If it's not your property, you can do. Like if he's washing your garment or fixing your car, you can do
Isn't that Marazayin? I mean, they know, let's say it's your garment, like you mentioned about.
No, on the contrary. On the contrary, there's no Marazayin. 1 second, this might be a shayla. Hello? Yes. Baruch Hashem. I am. Maybe later is better. After 10, if you don't mind. Okay, thank you. Bye. Bye. Thank you, bye. Sorry. There is no Marasayin. That's the whole point. It's not in your domain.
Not in your property, you're saying.
Anytime a kabbalah does work for you, not in your property, it's allowed. The Marasayin is if it's in your property.
But don't we go again on that vicious cycle, like let's say if they borrow my car?
Car maybe, because car they can see it's yours, but the money?
Oh, money is okay.
Money has no siman. Find money in the street, even if it says somebody's name on it, you don't have to return it. Because money comes and money goes. There's no names on money.
You can only buy the cow on Shabbos.
He's going to talk about
the market's
that.
open on Shabbos.
He's going to talk about that. Actually, he doesn't. The Alter is going to talk about that. Similarly, you can get to, give him stuff to sell for you. You want to sell, and you can't sell it on Shabbos either, obviously. Give him stuff to sell. Don't tell him what to sell it. If a guy comes to take merchandise that you had agreed that he's going to sell for you, and he's going to make a part of the profit. So he's like a kablan, and he's going to sell whatever he wants, and he's taking it on Shabbos, not because you told him to take it on Shabbos, but because that's when he has a chance to take it. Comes to your house and he wants to take it. You're not allowed to let him, because people see him taking out your merchandise on Shabbos. They'll think that you told him to do it on Shabbos, Marasayin. Even if he comes on his own, you can't let him. Not only that, says the Mechaber, if that would happen, they would actually punish the person who would let it happen. If the person would let a goy take stuff out of his house on Shabbos, that's a serious thing, and it's a serious maras ayin, to the extent they would punish the person.
No, we had a discussion when we were talking about the shemashers. We're in the chair, moving a chair from your house.
Exactly. Same thing. Here it's Shabbos itself already, and therefore you cannot take it out. Okay, hey, here comes a major important klal about.
It's a little bit difficult.
About Amir leNochri. Okay.
We're in the Alter this, right?
We are in the Alter Rebbe. No, we're in the Mechaber. Hey, 5.
I'm sorry. Where did we start in the Mechaber again?
We started
today.
We started with Beis in the Mechaber.
Okay.
Something that is not a actual malacha, it's not one of the 39 malachas. And it's only forbidden on Shabbos because of a rabbinic law. You're allowed to tell a Gentile to do it on Shabbos. That's only if there is a little bit of an illness. The reason he says a little bit of an illness is because if it's a lot of bit of an illness, then you can ask a goy to do even a Torah level violation. If the person is, not Bikuch Nefesh. Bikuch Nefesh is a goy, you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Talking about a serious illness to the extent that the ill person is in bed, confined in bed, you can ask a goy to do any melacha Torah level even. So the chiddush is, even if it's only a mitzvah chayli, it's only a partial illness, nevertheless you can ask him to do a rabbinic level violation. Or if there's a great need, or if it's a mitzvah. Kate said, for example, simple. It's Shabbos. Rosh Hashanah is Sunday. Rosh Hashanah can't be on Sunday. So why does he need to go to get it on Shabbos? I don't get it.
I'm sorry. What seif are we on again right now in the Mechaber?
I'm on Sifhei in the Mechaber.
Okay.
He's giving an example of a mitzvah. Tell the Jew can say, leNochri b'Shabbos to the non-Jew on Shabbos, lalis be'ilan, to go up on a tree, lahavi shofar, to bring a shofar, the skoya tkiyas mitzvah, to blow a mitzvah blowing. I don't get this. We don't blow the shofar on Shabbos.
No, yeah.
And Sunday, there's no Rosh Hashanah on Sunday. Rosh Hashanah's on Monday, earliest in the week. I don't know what he means.
Maybe is it after Rosh Hashanah? Or?
He's giving an example.
Because maybe if you're like saying Yom Kippur, it falls on Shabbos.
That's not a mitzvah. That's a minhag.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do it for minhag too, but that's a chiddush. That's a chiddush. I'm thinking that he's talking about in the days that they used to blow it on Shabbos. That was before Gzeira, the Gzeira of Rabbah, mid Gzeira. And even after that, by the way, it was mutter in the Bezdin. It was only also outside of the Bezdin. In the Bezdin, it was mutter. I'm guessing that this is what we're talking about. A place where they blew the shofar on Shabbos, either before the decree or in the Bezdin. So you're allowed to tell the goy to climb the tree to get the shofar down on Shabbos, because it's a shvus. Climbing a tree is only d'Rabbanan. You're allowed to tell the goy to do a d'Rabbanan for a mitzvah. Hey, in the Mechaber of Shin Zayin. Yep. I didn't start yet. In Mitzvah Shem? No. We're done with Shin Vav. Or another example, a person is in pain, and he feels that if he's gonna wash himself, he's gonna feel better. But there's no eruv in the chatzar. Not talking about a Shvus Rabbah, talking about a chatzar, has walls, but they didn't do an eruv, so it's not under Rabbanan. So you're allowed to have the goy. You're allowed to ask the guy to carry through that eruv and bring water to this poor guy who needs it to feel better. There's no eruv chatzeres. It means there's walls, but they didn't gather the bread and make the eruv chatzeres. So it's only Rabban. The yesh oisrin, and some forbid this. Not so simple. Some forbid this. I'm going to share with you what I wrote up in the notes that I sent out, that there are actually 3 opinions about Amir leNochri in the case of a mitzvah. We have the opinion of the Iter that we mentioned already in 275, I think it was. which is that you're allowed to ask a goy to do even a d'oraisa for a mitzvah. The Maisa, we said we don't pass like the Eider. And it's the only exception is the mitzvah de rabbin, like an Eruv, where I saw today some of the Achronim explain only the Eruv because it's a michshol. The public is going to do a sin. It's not just a mitzvah. It's preventing them from doing a sin. So it's a very serious thing. So that's number one. Hey. The other opinion, which is the Rambam, and that's what the Mechaber Passan's like, holds that you can do a Shvus Dishvus for a mitzvah. That means you can tell a goy to do a d'Rabbanan for a mitzvah. The opinion of Tosfos is that you cannot tell a goy to do a Shvus Dishvus for a mitzvah. The only mitzvah you can do that for is Milah. Because of bris milah, you're allowed to even do certain d'oraisas yourself, obviously the bris itself. So even things that you're not allowed to do because you should have done them before Yontif and you didn't. So a Jew can't do it. For example, the Jew didn't make a knife, forgot, didn't carry the knife, or whatever it is, something he should have done before Shabbos. Machshirin, it's called machshirin, preparation. So that he cannot do on Shabbos. But he can have a goy do it, says Tosfos. He can have a goy do a d'Rabbanan for that mitzvah. That's the, no, that's a tikkun kli. That's a d'oraisa. I'm talking about Tosfos. Tosfos says he can do a d'Rabbanan, and a d'Rabbanan is not sharpening a knife. He can carry the knife through a caramelist or whatever it is. So that's the opinion of Tosfos. Not sure. Tikkun kli doesn't have to be a big tikkun. You know what I'm saying? Makah b'patish is it's crooked, but it's still usable. You straighten it out. You're over. I think.
In this case, what? Not going to make the bris?
According to Tosfos, no. He's not going to make the bris. Now, according to the Baal Eiter, it's no problem. First of all, Shabbos is a Isser Skila. So, of course, the rule of Aseder Chalei doesn't apply to an Isser Skila. That goes without saying. But in terms of Amir leNochri, even though it's only an Isser d'Rabbanan, the Chachamim have the power to stop you from doing a mitzvah, a Sheva al Taisa, by telling you, listen, don't do it, sit and don't do anything. Even though D'oraisa you're allowed to do this, it's Amir leNochri, it's not Asa D'oraisa, and therefore D'oraisa you have a chiyuv to do the bris milah. The Chacham have the power to tell you not to. That's a klal. They can tell you not to do a mitzvah d'oraisa because of the exera that they made. That being said, for your information, the Mishnah Berurah brings down that the Magen Avram says that since a bris milah is a mitzvah that we do push off Shabbos for in general, meaning to say not for the machshirin, for the mitzvah itself. So therefore, even for the machshirin, you can rely on the iter and have a goy do an iser d'oraisa if necessary. Sharpen the knife, to carry the Shvus Rabbim, heat up the water. You know what I'm saying? They used to bathe the baby in hot water. You're supposed to make the hot water before. You didn't.
Just a minhag, also part of it.
Just a minhag.
So wait, so you can have the guy do is it d'oraisa?
According to the Magen Avram, yeah. If necessary. It's chiddush, but that's what he holds. Okay, so Lamaisa, the Machaber's first opinion is like the Rambam. He does bring V'yesh Tosfos, but it's only a yesh. Tosfos. Tosfos holds it's only a Shvus Dishvus. Sorry, that even a Shvus Dishvus is only a mutter for Milah and not for a regular mitzvah. Well, the Kaman says the Rambam, Sim Tavkuf Peivav Pascal Lahater. He points out that the Mechaber himself was Mekel later on in Hilchos Shofar. He also reminds us that he brought down the pain of the Itter in 276 that allows even Isser D'Oraisa for a mitzvah. All right, my friends, we are going to do the Alter Rebbe, who is going to give us some additional details. We did Beis through Hay. We started at 8:04, 4 minutes late. I'm trying to start on time these days because there's a lot of material to cover. From Beis to Hay is what we did in Mechaber, and now we are starting the Alter Rebbe. Zion. No, Vav, sorry. Anything that is also min adin for a Jew to do. Also, you cannot tell the goy, even before Shabbos, to do it on Shabbos. Even if you're not going to actually use it until after Shabbos. Here's an example. Before Shabbos, I'm going to tell him, do me a favor. On Shabbos, I want you to find workers for me. And they're going to do work for me after Shabbos. So I'm not benefiting on Shabbos at all. And I'm not saying anything on Shabbos at all. My speech took place before Shabbos, and my benefit is going to take place after Shabbos. So what's the problem?
But just the way you're saying it, so usually we can have the workers for after Shabbos.
Okay, if he has time to do it before Shabbos, that's fine. But the point is, if you tell him to do it on Shabbos, then when he does it, he is your shaliach. Even though you're not benefiting at that time. And even though you didn't say a word about it on Shabbos, but you told him to do it, and you told him to do it on Shabbos, when he does it, he is your shaliach. For your information, a thing that is only a chumrah, that we are strict and we don't do it ourselves, but by the letter of the law, even a Jew could do it, that you're allowed to tell a goy to do.
When it's a chumrah.
If it's only a chumrah, correct. No, it's not a shvus. No. Shvus Dishvus is only mutter for a mitzvah. Here, I'm not talking about a mitzvah. I'm talking about a regular thing. So if it would be a shvus, if it would be an Issa D'Rabbanan, you would not be allowed to ask the goy to do it. For example, here, hiring a worker is only D'Rabbanan. It's not a D'Oraisa. What's hiring? It's like a business. It's like a transaction, which is also because you might write. It's only D'Rabbanan. So it's forbidden because we're not talking about a case of a mitzvah. But if it would be a case of something that's not forbidden D'Rabbanan, we just don't do it as a chumrah, then you could ask a goy to do it for you because we're machmer ourselves and I'm machmer not to tell a goy to do it. Yes?
This leNochri that you tell him, let's say, to find workers to have after Shabbos. This goy, let's say it's if it's work for you on a daily basis for sure. If it's a kabbalah, it's going to be different, and if it doesn't get any money from it, just as a favor.
Doesn't make a difference.
Huh?
In all those cases, if you tell them to do it on Shabbos, not allowed. If you tell them to do it on Shabbos, it's not allowed.
What's the case of the Chomer Ba'alma that they talk about later on?
Just one second, Daniel. I'm sorry, one more time.
To make a difference, I told him actually on Shabbos himself, or I told him on Friday, by the way, on Shabbos, look for workers.
Absolutely. If you tell him on Shabbos, you have two averos. Because there's the Isser of a daber davar, of speaking on Shabbos about forbidden work. And then there's the Isser of shlichus, that he's doing work for you. So if you do it on Friday, at least you only get one.
Is the shlichus going to be something that you pay for it?
No.
Or I think even a free shlichus?
Even free shlichus. Getting paid, it makes it better, because at least he's getting something from it. He's doing it for himself also. Just telling him to do it is, if he doesn't get paid, is even worse. I'm not saying it's okay if he's getting paid. It's not okay if you tell him to do it on Shabbos, especially. But it could, in some situations, it makes it better.
Basically, the guy could do something for you, just the way you're going to tell him.
If you don't specifically tell him to do it on Shabbos, and he has time to do it before or after, that's not on your property,
But
then he could do it.
Let's say in this case, I don't know how long it takes to find workers, but let's say it's just like half an hour for Shabbos. Be sure for after Shabbos we have a worker for to do the job.
I don't know. Depends on the situation. Depends on the situation. Daniel, what were you asking? Go ahead.
I don't know if we covered it yet, but what's the which is in the last sentence there?
What's an example of a chomer ba'alma? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
An example of a chomer ba'alma. Let me get some help from my students here. Any ideas? An example of a chomer ba'alma.
Alma or a chomer and halacha that like secretion.
Secretion is not a chomer.
Right.
Secretion
I'm
is a
saying
din.
things that we're machmer, meaning we're machmer ourselves. Meaning we don't do it, but we'll let it go.
Things that we are machmer on ourselves, but it's not maker adin. Like, Daniel, what's an example?
Yeah, everybody does not use it.
Oh, there you have it. Shamata? You have an Erev and you don't use it. What else?
Specifically for Shabbos.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I mean, there's many examples. There's many examples. Things that you hold. Let's say in Rabbeinu Tam Shkia. You don't work until after Rabbeinu Tam Seisa Kachav. But you don't hold that it's the din itself. Like, for example, you're not machmer on that when it comes to Kriya Shema or other things. So you don't go by that as the main halacha. But when it comes to Shabbos, you want to be extra strict. So at that time, you could ask a guy to do work for you. Truth is, it could be you can ask a Jew too. You hold this only. No, if you hold after this man, if you hold this only a chomer.
We can tell somebody to please open up the business. I know that he's going to end Shabbos earlier than me. That do Rabbeinu Tam's.
I think I read that. I think I read if you only hold of something as a chomer, you don't hold of it as a din, that you can ask a Jew who does hold that it's who doesn't keep that chomer.
Obviously before Shabbos.
If you hold it's a din, some people hold it's a din. Some people go by Rabbeinu Tam even on regular
Change
things.
everything?
Say they would say Kriya Shema after Rabbeinu Tam and so on. So people like that, they can't ask a Jew to do it. Not
You ask
sure.
a goy ben shmashos, you are ben shmashos.
Yeah, but Rabbeinu Tam's Ben Shmasha starts after.
No, I'm saying if you hold the chomer, regular months. It's the halacha, so you can hold. You're allowed to tell a goy ben shmashos.
Yeah, if there's a need, some kind of need. Yeah, that's true. Okay, let us continue. Yeah. Yeah.
If you hold it to din, you're going to tell them the halacha. So then, it was that should you let someone else light? Because you're going to be machmir on Rabbeinu Tam, but that's after this might be actually supposed to be lighting. That's not tzeitzko chavim when you should be lighting. It's already, if you wait that Rabbeinu Tam's man as a chumrah, it's a nice chumrah, but you're also missing out on this amount of kriya, the amount of Chanukah lighting in its proper time. So if you hold it to din, so then you wait. If you hold it's a chumrah, then you should let someone else light at that time. You enjoy from the light, and then do a davar, and then take out. You not light and then.
Or have him do it for you. Have him do it for you.
Tell someone else to light.
Interesting. Where did you see that? Interesting. Who said that? Interesting. Very good.
Makes sense because you're really missing out on the whole time. According to the regulars, money, you're missing out on the whole mitzvah. I mean, missing out on the process, which is what I would say.
Right. I hear you. Okay. We continue with Zion and we say, Anything you can't tell a goy to do on Shabbos, you cannot even hint to him to do. You can't speak in codes. You can't tell him to do A, which he understands means do B, and so on. You can't tell him, hey, you got something on your nose. Wipe your nose off. And he understands, based on whatever, conversations you had, or based on the situation you're in, he understands that you want him, for example, to remove the pecham, the charred substance at the opening of a lamp. Sometimes the wick gets, too much black, and it kind of darkens the flame. So you want him to take that off. I mean, that's what they used to have in those days. So you want him to take it off. So you express it in that way, and that way you're not telling him clearly. Sounds good. No. Since that word actually means that, even though you didn't say it, but it means it in this code, that's the same as telling it. Even if the guy comes on his own, to remove it without being hinted to by the Jew, you have to stop him if he's doing it for you. Since it belongs to you, and he's clearly doing it for you. Like we said before. So therefore, even besides the hint, the very fact that he's doing it for you, you have to stop him. So what's the point of the hint? You have to stop him anyway. Here's a chiddush, which people abuse sometimes and take out of context. But nevertheless, here it is. Yeah. I didn't say every. I didn't say every. I didn't say every. I didn't say every. Let's see, we're middle.
1 second. But in case that on the specific melachas that you're not allowed, but if they already did it, right?
It depends. There's a lot of details in that. That's basically 325. Shin Chofe is about benefiting from the Maaseh Hagoy. We're going to get to that hopefully today. Okay. אבל מותר למלאכה איזה ציווי שיובן ממנה לעשות מלאכה אחר שבס, and limits למלאכה לעשות אחר שבס. שנעשה דיבור בלבד שעבודה בדו. You're allowed to tell a goy. Oh, sorry. Okay, this is not the chiddush that I was talking about that people abuse. This is a simple thing. You're allowed to tell a goy a command from which he'll understand to do malacha after Shabbos. You're allowed to say, you know what? I really have this situation. I have this stuff in my yard that needs to be fixed, and I don't have any workers. I don't know what to do. And he figures out that you want him to hire the workers, but it's for after Shabbos. No, you can't tell him because you're not allowed to talk about forbidden things on Shabbos. You're not saying what you need. You're not saying what you want him to do. You're just hinting.
What do you need after Shabbos?
I need workers. You're not telling him to hire workers. The fact that you need the fact that I need workers that's not a malacha. The fact that my yard is ruined and I need it to be fixed is not a malacha. You're not saying I want people to fix it. You're not saying I want you to get people to fix it. So the fact that he understands that, that's okay. No, you're not allowed to speak about malacha. You're not allowed to speak about malacha. You're allowed to speak about stories. Allowed to tell stories. My thing is broken. All that sort of thing. As long as you're not talking about the work involved in fixing it. Only dibur is forbidden, and not actual hinting. So again, he's not going to do the work on Shabbos, so there's no shlichus. And you're not speaking about the work either. He's understanding it. That's okay. Here's the chiddush. If he doesn't tell him any command, but you tell him one thing, and from this he understands that you want him to do malacha on Shabbos. Mutter, here's a mutter, it's mutter. Okay, go in, for example. Nochri shevi igeres chasum meiksher. A guy brought a sealed letter or tied letter. The Jew is not able to open it for the kohen and to read it. Listen carefully. You could say, you can't say, can you please open it for me? Because you're telling him to do the malach of opening. You can say, I'm unable to open it. I can't open it. It's forbidden for me to open it. I wish I would be able to read from it, but I'm not able to open it. And you can keep on repeating that again and again until he understands. What about the fact that he's not allowed to work for you? You're not allowed to benefit from his work for you. Here's the Alter Rebbe's point. The Jew, the guy opens it on his own. You're not telling him any tzivui, even beremes. You're just telling him your situation. He's figuring out what you want. Exactly. The guy understands on his own that he's supposed to do this. And listen to this parentheses. The das atzmayu oisa lahashlim peulosai b'shlichus igerazeh. Thank you. This guy is a courier. He's supposed to bring you the mail, and it is considered. Thank you very much. Part of his job is to bring it to you to the extent that you should be able to read it during the week. Exactly. This is the chiddush. It's only because he is, and he's not even a regular mailman. A regular mailman has no obligation to open the mail. This is a courier, and his job is to bring you the information so that you get it. During the week, you don't bother him to open it for you because why should you? But on Shabbos, you could tell him, listen, I can't read it. I can't read it. And he understands that he has to open it. And when he does so, it's considered a continuation of his own job, which he's doing to fulfill his job. When he goes back to the guy who sent him, the guy will say, did you fulfill your mission? He says, yes. Was he able to read it? Yes. So he's all doing it to be able to fulfill his mission.
I can't enter the building. Can I emphasize that? Or works in a building.
If part of his job is to enable you to enter the building, then yesh makom leimer.
For example, when he's saying, you see a guy next to, he already left the building. Say to yourself, oh, I wish I could walk into the building. It's my Sabbath. I can't walk into electricity. Oh, okay. And he goes,
Yeah.
It's not simple.
Like,
What's the issue on that?
Well, the light is a big problem because that's mamash ano. That's mamash. The guy who turns the light on for you, you can't benefit because you may ask him to do it. So, and even when he comes to do it, you have to stop him. The light is a big problem.
Entering the building, door.
Entering the building is not simple either because he's doing it for you and you are benefiting. You're getting through the door. Now, here's the heter. Here's the heter that could be said. I'm not saying, I don't know. Could be said if the doorman's job, the security, whatever, whoever it is that's assisted by the door, if his job is to help people get into the building, and therefore, as long as you don't say it clearly, he understands. Maybe you could be said that's part of his job. So he's like a cobbler. Yesh makom leimer.
That shouldn't be Marzaim. You're entering the building.
What's the marasign you mean? That maybe
I saw
it'll.
this in the shir. This exact example.
Yeah.
He said that he wants to be lazy and not get up and open the doors with his hands. No problem. He says on his own accord, he's doing a malcha that can be done better. Be'eser. Like washing the dishes. I say, please go wash these dishes. I mean with cold water and a sponge. She does it with hot water and a sponge. It's not my problem. That's what she wanted to do to make her life easier. So over here, he's making his life easier. Can you please open the door for me? I meant by opening the door. Come open the door for me. You want to be lazy and press the button? That's on you.
So that day, yeah, you have to.
That's a chiddush, though. That's a chiddush.
I said on the chair. Questions if you like that. How about me or?
No, that's a chiddush because it's not, to open an electric door with your hands is an unusual thing. You know what I'm saying? Do you say this for that he can do something in a permissible way?
Maybe it wasn't an electric door. Maybe it was just a door that buzzes people in. Like you have to have.
All right.
It's a regular door.
Right. So that's
more like
there. The svara is more understandable. So an electric door, to open an electric door manually is actually difficult. I mean, you could schlep it, you could pry it open, but you have to work. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
It does open.
It does open, but you have to actually pull it. It's like a difficult thing. I don't know.
Ask them, can you open the door for me?
Could be.
You can open it for yourself and stuff.
Well, by the time you walk in, it's
sensitive. It's sensitive.
Oh, right. Well, they can't do it either. Once they walk to the door, it's
Or you could wait for them to just enter the door. And then just walk really close to them.
That's an easy heter. That's an easy heter. If they're taka walking in, they're not doing it for you. That's the easiest
if
heter.
they're walking in by themselves.
They're walking in for themselves, so you're actually not doing anything. As long as you make sure you're not. They walk quickly. So
What's another way to get into a building besides sitting to an electric door, besides someone else walking in?
I don't know. I will say what I did see, which is related to this, but it's hard to compare one thing to another in these matters because it's so complicated. But I did see, I think from a Listen Karelitz he quotes, when you're in a hotel, of course you should try to get a hotel that has regular keys or has the option for regular keys or whatever. But you couldn't, and there you are, you're in a hotel that has the cards. So what he says to do is to tell the guy from before Shabbos that you need him to get you into your room on Shabbos. That's part of your renting the hotel room on condition that he makes sure that you should be able to get into your room at all times. That's part of your rental agreement. I mean, you have to put in the contract, but you say that
Speaking of,
it has to be, you have to be able to get into your room. So therefore, when you come, again, you don't ask him clearly to open it, but when you come and you say, I can't get in because I can't use the key, it's my Sabbath, whatever, and then he opens it for you, he's doing it as part of his job for the hotel. The hotel agreed that they have to get you into the room. You can't get into the room. They're doing their job.
I want to going to an elevator person room.
You can say that you lost your key and they have to open it. No?
according to it, it could be that it isn't even including, because that's a way to get there. Once they need to get to the door, the whole way to get to the door is already. And if the end result is for them being allowed to open the door for you, which I didn't, that's the finish of what I'm saying. I mean,
It is a chiddush. It's not the best. I'm not saying to do it in the first place. I'm saying in a situation where you need to.
but then the whole going up to the elevator, he needs to get up to my room. He can walk. I'll walk behind him in the stairs. He wants to do his job by going in the elevator, so if you go elevators.
It's definitely an interesting shaila, but I will say this. The fact that you're allowed to tell him to do it doesn't mean you're allowed to go up in the elevator. It's not, it doesn't follow one from the other.
Why would you?
No, because we had the halacha in 276 that difficult. I'm not sure. Maybe it's not the same. I'll just talk. No, but there the guy is really going through for himself. Here he's doing it for you, except that he's a kabbalah, so it's not exactly the same.
Why is it a psik ratio? Here's the, it's even
Not a psik ratio. He's going up the elevator. What does that mean, psik ratio?
no, psik ratio. I'm sorry. No, wait, psik ratio. The end result is
Psik ratio.
and in the meantime, it's also correct.
No psik ratio.
The end result is
No psik ratio. Going up the elevator is not a psik ratio.
no, that's not what I meant.
Let me just say what I was going to say about 276. We see over there that if the case we had over there was you want the guy to get something in the room for you. So you're allowed to ask him to come to the room for you to help you find something. If he turns on the light to be able to find that thing, you can't benefit from that light. Even though he is looking for that thing and he needs the light to look for the thing, but since he is looking for the thing for you, so the light is considered to be for you.
The people who are hologram, I've seen them not the opposite.
But the thing is,
Even though the ikr
If
was
you
not
ask
turning on
someone
the
to get
lights.
something from the room for you, and they need to turn on the light.
If you're not there, that's the difference. If you send them and you're not there, then it's considered for
Meaning if you tell them to
themselves.
go to another room to get something.
Exactly. And they turn on the light and then you run after them and say, hey, don't turn it off.
So why are you?
Because no, if you're there
Say,
and they're doing it to find something for you, then it's considered that they're doing it for you.
doing something for you by going to the other room to get something for you.
Yeah, but if you're not there, so they need the light to find it for you. But if you're there and
What do they need? Why are you benefiting?
it's not that you're benefiting. They are considered to be doing it for you. Their intention, when they turn the light on, is considered for your benefit. Whenever a guy does something for your benefit, you're not allowed to benefit from it. So when they do something to find something for you and you are standing by and watching, that's considered like they're doing it for you. So I'm just not sure of the guy who's going up the elevator, even though it's part of his kabbalas, but at the end of the day, he's doing it to get you into the room. I'm just not sure about it. I don't know.
At the end of the day, he's doing a malacha to get you into the room. So why isn't that the same idea? You're doing a malacha.
No, the elevator is not part of the kabbalas.
No, not that way.
Yeah, so
Okay, it's your rabbanon.
so
So why is
that's
that?
another heter, by the way. This is Rabbanon, Hilchos Shabbos, whatever. That's another heter. But I'm just
That's not what I'm saying. Why? I'm not really getting it. He asking him to get something from the room I'm in. He has to turn on the light to go get it. For himself, to find something, he has to turn on the light. Then I have to send it to another. If I send it in the room,
if you're going with him and he turns on the
we're
light,
in the living room. I say to him, when you get something, which let's say the living room and the dining room are together, and he needs to turn on a light on the other side of the room to be able to find the thing,
correct?
and I'm there,
Correct.
why wouldn't I be able to enjoy from that light if I tell him not to turn it off?
Here's the Machaber. Reish Ayin Vav Gimel. Im Omer Adam la'avdei l'shivchasi leilech imoy v'yidliku haner af pi shem gam tzurichem loy ein ze l'tzorich en Yehudi ki mitchik alech b'shvil Yisrael.
What was the point of reminding the king?
Because he's walking in darkness. But he's walking because you asked him to come with you. So that's considered for you. Because his main reason is going there is for you.
The main reason is going there for you, to find that for you.
Yeah. Says the Mishnah
So why
Berurah.
afterwards you're letting
Says the Mishnah Berurah. Afterwards, you can't either.
No, afterwards in that case if you didn't go with
The Mishnah Berurah says, Dafka Naka. If you send them and you don't walk with them, then it's not for you. Even though they're going for you, since you're not benefiting from it immediately. That's what he
I always thought
says.
that was the big header.
Let's
Say, for example, you say, and it's just ridiculous. Let's say you want the light to be on the other side of the room. So you say, or in this room. So you say, do me a favor, I need you to find something. You leave. Let him turn on, start finding, and then come back and say, you know what, forget it, I really don't need it. Don't turn it on. No, because this whole thing was a tchalas of malacha.
Yeah.
You weren't there to enjoy the beginning of it.
Yeah.
So, and that's a Get the light on.
That's the way to get the light on, yeah.
That's
That's the way to get the light on.
So was that-
Reish Ayin Vav Gimel. Okay. Any questions from around the world? No?
We're good, thanks.
All right. Very good. Here we go on Ches. What do we learn leNochri? Achar Shabbos. Madu leSisa davar ploni b'Shabbos shavra. You're allowed to tell a goy after Shabbos, why didn't you do this for me on the previous Shabbos? Even though he understands.
Allowed to do this?
Yeah. One second. Not so simple. Even though he understands that you want him to do it the next Shabbos, no problem. You're telling him during the week. There's nothing explicit telling him to do it the next Shabbos. You're just disappointed he didn't do it this Shabbos, from which he understands on his own that you want to do it the next Shabbos. He understands. Now, the issue is that there are many cases that even if a goy comes on his own to do work for you, you have to stop him. So this thing about saying, why didn't you do this last Shabbos? And then he comes and does you the next Shabbos is only going to help if it's a type of malacha that you don't have to stop him from doing. If it's type of malacha you have to stop him from doing on his own, then what does it help?
What's
So you give him a remes?
So let me read it right now. Let me read it. This is only if it's not the type of malacha you have to stop from doing. Going. It's a thing that he's not using your kalim for, because we said whenever he uses your kalim, you have to stop him, because otherwise it looks like you want him to do it. And he can't be your worker. Can't be your worker. If he's your worker, then he's doing it for you. It has to be something he's doing on his own. Like a Kablan or a Tabasana, he does it for the fact that he's going to get benefit in return. And another point, which the author doesn't spell out here, but we've learned it in the past, is that you cannot get an immediate bodily benefit. If it's a light that you're going to benefit from right away, he's doing it for you, or heat that you're going to benefit from right away, food that you're going to have heated right away, all those things that is an immediate bodily benefit. If he does it for you, you cannot benefit. A, you have to stop from doing it, and B, you're not allowed to benefit from it because you may ask him to do it. So it has to be no bodily benefit, not with your kalim, and not your worker.
About the light. So if you're going to go by himself and then the lights on, you're allowed.
If he doesn't do it for you, if he doesn't do it for
You
you.
send him to the room to look for something.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not with him.
Okay. Now, but if you go with him,
No good.
why?
Because then it's considered that he's doing it for you.
But he's the one that's looking.
Yeah, but he's looking for you. And you're standing there, so he's doing it for you. So here's the thing. There is...
You go after he walked in first.
Sorry? If it's already on, it's already on. You can tell him to turn it off. Okay, listen carefully. Alter Rebbe has a chiddush, which he doesn't say here, but he says it elsewhere, which is very practical and good to know about. And that is that even your own kalim, you don't have to stop him from turning them off, because that's not something you need permission for. To turn something on, like to use something, you need permission. But to turn something off, like to save money, you know what I'm saying? Somebody's car lights are on. You do them a favor, you turn it off, you don't need permission. I mean, maybe if it's a Jaguar, better not to touch. But under normal circumstances, you don't need permission. You turn it off. He says, thank you. So, and another chiddush is that we mentioned this in the past, that darkness is not considered a benefit. It's just a lack of light. So this is a nice thing to know about in terms of what we're saying here. You're allowed to tell the goy, it's very dark, can't sleep, I'm not allowed to turn the light off. So that you're not talking explicitly, you're not telling him explicitly to turn it off. It's not even a remez, because you're not saying something that he in a tricky way he understands it. You're just telling him the fact. That's the fact. You can't sleep. And not have to let it. That's all true. He realizes that you wanted to turn it off. That's his own. That's not a remez. That's just something he figures out. And it's not something you have to be moicha, because it's off and not on. And it's not something that's considered a direct bodily benefit, because darkness is not what he's creating. He's simply taking away the light. So this is a practical thing. Well, let's say the radio's on. Radio turned on. It's very loud. Another example. Turning it off, you don't have to be moich. You don't have to stop him if he comes on his own to turn it off. And if in any case, you don't have to stop him if he comes on his own, you're allowed to remez, you're allowed to say a hint, it's too loud, I can't, whatever. And he figures it out.
So he likes it, it's too bright. Can't sleep.
Yeah.
What about less light?
Like a dimmer?
Okay.
If he's only dimming it and not actually turning it off, you know what I'm saying? It's like I don't see one on. I don't see one on.
Turning off.
No, I'm saying turning it off
you mean
one setting
the
and
light
onto
is
another
still on.
setting. Just lower it. I think so.
Still gives you change in light.
Yeah.
It's a different light already.
It's a different setting of light. He's giving you something else, which is.
Is he giving it to you, or is he taking it away? Is it considered that he's giving it, or he's just taking away the light? I mean, I don't know how the electric bulbs work and all of that. I'm not sure.
Anything derabanan for a tzarech gadol? Like anything derabanan for
A tzarech gadol, you don't have to hint. You can say it clearly.
So, for example, the lights are on in my room. I forgot to turn the lights on. I can't set the light on. I could say, turn the lights off in my room.
You're asking if you can ask a goy to do a melacha shein tzarech legufa, if that's a shvus. That's your question. In other words, that's not simple. That's not simple. Turning off a light is mechaba, right? It's extinguishing. But actually, there is no coal there at all, actually. Maybe it's better than a melacha shein tzarech legufa.
Cool air?
Coal. There's no
Cool,
pepper.
there's no cool.
So maybe it's not even a melacha deraisa b'chlal.
No, I was going off of the understanding that it's melacha derabanan. There's
Yeah.
some who say turning off a light is melacha deraisa. Turning off a light.
Well,
Depends on what type of light.
see, when it's a candle,
And you're already getting some of that black stuff.
when it's a candle, you're getting the black thing, but you don't need it. So that's a melacha tzarech legufa. The Rambam holds deraisa, most of Shem holds derabanan. But it is a melacha deraisa. You just don't need the result of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's more complicated.
Right, that sounds much more complicated.
That's more complicated. But a light bulb which doesn't have it, I believe it's derabanan. Yeah, I hear you.
What would we consider derabanan? What does the light? What does it lack for it to be on such category?
Usually, when you extinguish a light, like a lamp in the olden days, you had the black thing at the end of the wick.
Okay.
Over here, there's no change of the bulb, so there's no benefit in the thing that you're doing the melacha with. There's no change in it. Usually, the mechaba has to be that it's benefiting the item that you're extinguishing. Just like when you destroy a building, it's only going to be a melacha if it's going to benefit to have a better building next time. You know what I'm saying? But here, there is no change in the thing that you're extinguishing.
I saw that if your light is on in the fridge,
If your light is on,
I might even mention this story once. If the light's on in the fridge, so you can tell the goy to get the food from the fridge because that's obsecration.
yes.
So then you don't have it. Let's say you don't have an option of keeping the fridge door open with a towel, so it won't shut off the light. Except it's going to happen again. That the light is going to turn. The door is going to close. The light's going to turn back on, and you need the food the rest of Shabbos. You need to put it in right now. So you're allowed to tell him to unscrew the light bulb because it's an Amirah L'goy for a Isser D'Rabbanan, and you need it. So Shabbos, so Siddur Shabbos.
It's like a mitzvah.
Shabbos, right? So
I hear it. If somebody says it, I can understand it. I'm not going to say it myself. If somebody says it. Yeah, okay.
I'm saying with the same idea of turning off the light in the room. if you said L'Tzorech Gadol is, I forgot what it is allowed for
So Mechaber says that.
so turning off the light, if you hold this darabana, so I can't, if you won't be able to sleep with the light on.
Yeah, I hear it. Sleeping is a tzara gadol. I'm talking about the Friday night, not your Shabbos nap, but sleeping. No, that's not. I don't think it's a tzara gadol.
A lot of people are probably more allowed to hear Tzorech Gadol. Like Tzorech Gadol is usually like a big Tzorech Gadol, not like a I want my light on.
Yeah. I hear.
But if you have the option of going to another room to sleep, I mean, because it can be,
Yeah.
it can be abused.
That's true. That's true. If you have, depending on your situation, that's true.
It's not a plan to
Absolutely. Shvus Dishvus is something that should be avoided. It's not something you should plan on using. It's something that you should only use it as last resort. Shouldn't plan on it. I actually saw that in the Shevet HaLevi. I put it in the notes that I gave out, that the Shevet HaLevi says you should not use it in a permanent way. It's only something that you use here and there as needed. But to use it on a regular basis, it makes a zilzul of these halachas. Because you'll find a way, Rabbanan, need it, It's only something you do in a situation that came up that wasn't expected. Nothing you should plan on.
I don't mean to be any gritty, but the halacha that he was mentioning, that it could be if you have another place to sleep. Do you have to put yourself in a position of sleeping in an uncomfortable or a less comfortable way? Let's say there's a couch in the den. Technically, you can sleep on the couch in the den. You can pull out a mattress and your wife can sleep on the floor also in the den. But you want to sleep in your bed. It's dumb. It's just a normal way of how to sleep. Is that what Tzorech Gadol?
It's Shabbos, yeah.
You have to. I don't know what this first.
It's hard to quantify exactly Tzorech Gadol. It's hard. I don't know. I'm not going to give up sack on that, but it's not simple. It's not obvious to me that that's a Tzorech Gadol, to sleep in your bed instead of on the couch. If there's no light on the couch, obviously. Otherwise, there's no point. Yeah. Okay, we continue and we say, this is about buying stuff on Shabbos. In a place that the market day is Shabbos. Also, this is, by the way, relevant in some places where they do auctions. I think I was mentioning in Melbourne, they auction homes. And a lot of the auctions are scheduled for Shabbos. So what do? You want to buy it. It's on Shabbos. So here he says, you're allowed to give money to the goy that he should buy from a certain item. So Asr. You're not allowed to tell him. You're not allowed to give him money. If that item is not found except on market day, like it is in small cities. This is what you're asking, Emmanuel. If the only day they can buy it is Shabbos, even if you don't tell them to buy it on Shabbos, that's like telling them to buy it on Shabbos. So it's not allowed. Now, there is a chiddush here, in parentheses. Alter Rebbe says it, and I don't really have a source for it that I can give you, but here it is. On Wednesday or Thursday, you're allowed to give him money, just not on Friday.
And you know the shuk's only open on Shabbos?
That's what he's saying. This is a big chiddush, and he sends you to Rishon Beis. In Rishon Beis, he doesn't talk about this. Rishon Beis, he talks about a case where you're renting items out. You're allowed to rent them on Wednesday and Thursday, just on Friday. He also talks about situations where he's going to do work for you, b'toivas hana'ah. He doesn't know exactly what he's getting back. So a kablan, you're allowed to tell him even on Friday. And if he does work on Friday, on Shabbos, it's okay. But a toivas hana'ah, where he doesn't know exactly what he's getting back, you can't tell him on Friday, but you can tell him on Wednesday or Thursday. Because it's not, as long as it's far from Shabbos, it's not seen as a shlichus. But here it's a big chiddush. You're telling him to get it. You know he has to get it on Shabbos. But if you tell him Wednesday or Thursday, it's not forbidden. It's a chiddush. And it's only in parentheses, by the way.
What is that?
Alter Rebbe sometimes was not sure about a halacha. And he left it in parentheses, and he intended to review it when he would review the Shulchan Aruch and rewrite it, which he did. He started to do. He wrote the first 4 Simanim again.
Shots.
No, of Aruch HaYom, Aleph Daled.
He only was able to review. He wrote the whole thing.
He wrote the whole thing.
The review was only till the fourth.
The Madura Basra, the second version of it, that was only till the 4th Simon. So the other parentheses and the rest of it are things that are not clear. That he says, but he's not 100% sure. V'yematzui k'tzas liknes gam b'shar yomim.
Change things that also more in parentheses in the first four Simanim.
Yes, absolutely. Not just in the first 4 Simanim, but in there are other things that he wrote later. For example, the Seder B'chas Hanenin, which we're planning to learn. The Seder B'chas Hanenin is the Alter Rebbe's like short, condensed version of brachas. It's like, for the like the brachas books, you know what I'm saying? Which is for the public, the easy halachas of brachas, instead of all the simanim, which are very complicated. So he condensed it into 13 chapters, and that he wrote much later in life after the Shulchan Aruch, and he wrote a lot of different psukim there than in the Shulchan Aruch.
What was this change of? What was the main?
The main thing?
Something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
What did he do? He started going like other person.
He started going like reaching back to the Rishonim. Much more. We can't say about a Rebbe that he had more self-confidence, because we can't use such words about a Rebbe. But he didn't limit himself so much to the Achrayim anymore. He reached back to the Rishonim and relied more on them. He writes that actually in the introduction.
There's a lot more saying Arvacha, seeing even if it's not the psak, it's not the minhag or something, it's not the skamas later post game. If he thought some svara was more applicable
in the Korban based on the Rishonim, correct. Which is also very much a style of Vilna Gaon, by the way. Vilna Gaon has that style very much. I'm not saying it's to that extent, but actually in the Hakdama to the Seder B'chas Hanenin, it's like a 2-line introduction, and he writes something about going back to the Rishonim. I don't remember the exact words, but it's he alludes to the fact that he is going back to the Rishonim a lot. Okay, we continue and we say, if there is stuff to be bought also on other days, then you can give money even on Erev Shabbos. As long as you don't tell him to buy it on Shabbos, because then it's theoretically possible for him to get it on any other day. You also can't say, let's say it's a type of thing that you can buy on other days. But if you give it to him Friday afternoon, and you say, I'm leaving Motzei Shabbos, and I need it before I go, again, that's the same as saying, I need you to buy it on Shabbos. So you would have to just say, buy it whenever, even if you're leaving Motzei Shabbos. But you can't tell.
Same thing with the suits,
Exactly. We had it at length in Ration and Base. Like we explained before. The same thing as if you're giving it the goy to sell. If the only day he can sell it is on Shabbos, that's not allowed. If there's other days he can sell it on, that is allowed as long as it's clear that he doesn't have to sell it on Shabbos. However, the Alter Rebbe says, it's really proper, this is from the Sefer Chassidim, not to live in a city whose only market day is on Shabbos, because it's so difficult to keep these halachas of not sending a goy to buy or sell for you.
How would you do it? You have to rely on the parentheses.
Exactly. If the market is not in the Jewish area, then you don't have to suspect. Okay, Yud. Mutter learn leNochri be'erev Shabbos. Hilech mois b'hava oknei behem la'atzmach l'chem tzbein l'mocha b'yem hashuk This is very similar to the sale of chametz situation. You're allowed to tell a goy before Shabbos. This is what the Mechaber said also. I'm lending you money for you to buy for yourself item A, B, or C in the marketplace. And I'll be happy to buy it back from you on Sunday, and then you'll be able to pay me back for the loan, plus you'll make a profit. So then you're telling him to do it on Shabbos, but you're telling him to do it for himself. This is allowed. You're allowed to tell a goy to do work for himself on Shabbos. No problem. You pass by the mechanic, and he's working on another guy's car, non-Jewish mechanic, working on a non-Jewish guy's car. You could say, hey, why are you just sitting there? Why are you sitting around? Why don't you get to work? I know he needs it. Why not? Not a Jew working. He's not working for a Jew. It's allowed. So here, what are you telling him? Take this money, buy it for yourself. The money, when you lend somebody money, becomes his money. So now it's going to be the goy's money. He's going to buy it from himself. It's going to belong to himself. If he would want to keep it and pay you back with other money that he gets, he's allowed to. Legally belongs to him. And you're also telling him, by the way, if you want to sell it to me, I'm happy to buy it. And I'm happy to buy it in a way that will give you a profit. And you'll also be able to pay me back. That's all fine and good. Because at the moment he's buying it with his money and for himself. Even though he knows you're going to benefit from it later.
The problem is the guy would not do that unless he gets his money.
Yeah.
To resell it.
Well, of course, but that's okay. No, not nominal leg. He's going to charge you a profit. Not going to charge you nominal leg because you're not going to do it with it next time. Just like the guy with the chametz, what I'm saying? If he makes shenanigans, you're not going to do it less next time.
It's a workaround.
It's a permissible workaround. Just like chametz, same thing. What's happening with the chametz? You're saying I'm selling it to you completely, and I'm going to buy it back from you for a profit. So it's his choice. He's willingly selling it back to you because he knows he's going to sell a profit. And you told him in advance that you're going to buy it back from him for a profit. But nevertheless, at that time, it belongs to him. Nisha sachal leNochri bekablanos. Lahoylus tzras l'makom pleni. Uva nachu lakach sar v'yisrael b'Shabbos. Av bishen kanesel v'neimaras ayik v'shlom s'meish menvav. Roy lekointze b'mamen l'fi oishrei. Oy b'malkus k'fi roy se'enin bezdin emein l'mamen. A guy has hired a worker bekablanos to take his stuff to another place. Moving company. You're paying him by the job, not by the day, not by the hour. Paying him by the job. And he shows up on Shabbos. Yud He shows up on Shabbos. Now, the truth is there is no real malacha going on here because he's a kabbalah. And you didn't tell him to come on Shabbos. He came on his own on Shabbos. Nevertheless, it is also because of Maras Ayin. And if you let him do it, we should punish the Jew who lets him do it.
What is he doing?
He's letting the goy take stuff from his house on Shabbos that he's doing b'kablanos, for example, a mover.
What about bring things?
Same thing. If they belong to the Jew. If they belong to the goy, it's different. We're going to see. If they belong to the Jew, same thing.
Just for the Maridan for another Jew or Maridan for the Goy Muslims?
Usually when we talk about Marasayim, we mean the Jew.
So let's say if you have a warehouse in the Goyish area. The mover company going.
No Jews live in the Tchum. When you say Goyish area, what it means is no Jews live in the Tchum Shabbos. That's what it means.
Okay.
In the Tchum Shabbos, so they can't actually see it.
So the moving company can go and empty the warehouse on Shabbos?
If it's
They
kabbanos,
choose to come on Shabbos.
and they choose to come
You
on
don't really
Shabbos,
know,
yeah.
Basically, because you cannot see what
In theory. I mean, in practice, to know that there are no goyim in the Tchum, no Jews in the Tchum Shabbos is very unusual, but it's possible.
It's not that if you hire a moving company to take your stuff, they're going to go on Shabbos. You have to.
Why should you have to be Meichel?
Just like it doesn't.
The Kabbalah, you didn't tell him. doing it
What
on
if he's
his own.
going through a Jewish part of town on Shabbos?
It's his cup. It's his truck. It's not your truck.
Nobody's gonna see your stuff.
But I'm saying the thing is, why I'm trying to get to the point of why can't he bring my stuff in my house on Shabbos?
That's my sign. Because whenever he's doing stuff in your house on Shabbos with your stuff, it looks like people might think that maybe you told him to do it on Shabbos. Or maybe they won't know he's a Kabbalah, think he's a Schayim, thing like that.
If there's traveling, it's not here.
So if Amazon
Correct.
can't deliver your package or UPS, okay, and it's a raining day, if we're gonna leave it behind the door, it's gonna get wet. But if you open the door and deliver it inside the house, you're putting it, you're allowed to.
Put it inside yourself. We've mentioned this in the past.
I mean, what's the Marasayan? That what? What could the Marasayan be?
The delivery guys, they go.
I'm saying, what's the Marasayan?
Deliver your
Maybe it's
package.
UPS, maybe it's overnight delivery.
Yeah, but you're receiving it. You didn't send it. Oh, you mean maybe you asked for it to come on Shabbos? Is that what you're saying?
So to receive is not a problem, just to pick up the problem.
I mean, why should people think DAF gets overnight delivery? I mean, that's the exception to the rule. Most people.
So why are people so upset that why are people looking at me weird when I asked the moving company to come in 3, 4, or 5 days, and they decide to come on the wherever. I told the moving company to come move my stuff down. I didn't tell them a specific day. They came on Shabbos. Why can't they bring my stuff in my house? What's the difference?
A moving company could be Schayim in theory, and you could tell them to come on Shabbos in theory.
Because you're sending yourself things. Over here, you're sending us. What was
Over
the
there,
two
you
reasons?
also see them.
Right. What was the 2 reasons? That
First of all, that people may suspect that he's a Schayim, that you're paying him by the day or by the hour. And second of all, that you may tell
That's
him.
not the case by a person who's delivering. Just not the way things go.
No, that's not the case. I mean, you could have a courier. I mean, you could have a courier, but that's, not really so. Yeah, but that's like one in
Would there be
1,000.
if it's like not your house, but your office? Or something.
Same thing. It's the same thing.
Not even.
Doesn't make a difference. That does make a difference. But the other issue is that you may tell him to do it on Shabbos. Any Kabbalah who does malacha in your house on Shabbos, you may tell him to do it on Shabbos. So
Any Kabbalah that does not have Shabbos, you may want.
tell him to do it on Shabbos. You're not allowed to tell.
In your house on Shabbos.
There's a gzeira that you may tell him to do it on Shabbos. Even though you didn't tell him, and he can do it anywhere else, but if he's in your house, then you may tell him to do it on Shabbos. A Kabbalah, you can't tell him to do it on Shabbos. If he does it on his own, is when it's mutter. So, I don't know if that's shaykh by a UPS guy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is shaykh, actually. You could tell him you want it overnight.
Just, I'm talking about delivery, no, it doesn't pick up, just bring
Right.
something to your house. So not gonna get damaged outside.
Right. See, I'll take what discusses it. I think we're going to discuss it later in the Simon, pretty sure. I think we're going to discuss later in the Simon about bringing stuff to your house and putting it down. I'm pretty sure he's going to discuss it later.
You had mentioned that Marvel said swine that were outside and he gave stop on that, right?
What was it?
That was a certain distance that you can. It was Yondev. It was a Yondev. It was Sukkos, and they were delivered by USPS, and he allowed us to come in $1 to be out of the rain or whatever.
You're carrying it.
The whole
The mailman left it.
what he's suggesting is, what are we talking about? You're not allowed to bring a package from outside your house inside your house? Is that what we're talking about?
That's what you're talking about.
Was that his?
No, I said it.
He's asking about telling the guy to bring it in the house.
Meaning the guy's bringing it to your door. You might as well open the door and say, do you mind putting it inside?
Exactly.
What would be the issue?
The issue.
Yeah, what would be the issue?
What would be the issue with his example?
His question is, why is it different than taking it out of the house? His question. He's not saying it's us. His question. If you can't tell him to take it out, why are you allowed to tell him to take it in?
He's already bringing it to my front door.
His job is to bring the delivery to
Right,
you.
he's bringing it to my
That's his
front
job.
door.
He's
To
not
move it
representing you.
to not put it down and just to continue it in my house. Well, that's an isser to bring it from Shvus. We're talking about that in Erev. Is that what we're talking about?
I mean, the truth is,
Well, you're giving him an avodah to take something out of your house. That's all different. That's the
No,
difference.
but officially it's just supposed to put it into your house. They're allowed to put like, I don't know, like 2 feet, 4 feet into your house.
I'm just saying the front porch is probably Rosh Hashanah anyway. So what's the difference actually? Front porch, inside. Anyway, it's in the Rosh Hashanah.
It depends if you have like 3 walls, it's higher than the ground. It's not all like Rosh Hashanah.
It's a bad name out.
But there's an Erev.
Your front yards are right.
Yeah, but it's not like something that you're allowed to. The porch not always like you can carry from your house to the porch.
Yeah, but there's an Erev. Even if you don't use it, you can have a go use it.
Maybe they're bringing it from outside the home.
They already brought it outside.
So was there to bring it? Is the front?
That's
door,
his question. That's the Lay's question. The Lay's question is about the outside.
I never had a Havamina L'Biasher, meaning if it's muktzah, you can't touch it anyways. If it's diapers that you need, so why can't you bring it inside? If there's Nerev. Your package is outside your house.
A thing that is brought from outside the Tchum for a Jew is can't be moved out more than 4 amos. That's
Can't
Allah.
be moved?
Cannot be moved more than 4 amos.
Oh, it can't be moved more than 4 hours. But it can be moved 4 hours.
It's not muktzah, yeah.
What's the 4 hours? Why do they only allow 4 hours?
Something that's taken out of the Tchum can't be moved more than 4 amos. That's Allah.
Once it gets to your Rishos.
Once it's, no, in general, once it's out of the Tchum, it can't be moved more than 4 amos. Now the goy is moving it. He's not asking you. But once he delivers it, puts it down, if he brought it for you from outside the Tchum, can't move it more than 4 amos.
And how do you know if that happened? What if you don't know if that happened? Maybe they already brought it on Friday to the local, to the, the editorial or NoChri beach location.
Actually, this has a.
On Saturday.
Okay, let me ask you.
No tchum.
This is a subject of some dispute. Suffolk Tchum is a subject of some dispute. I believe the Mechaber is Mekel on Suffolk Tchum. And I believe the Alter Rebbe is Machmer on Suffolk Tchum, unless it's the second day Yontif, which
Question.
case it's affects Feka.
There's tchum in it.
Tchum and Yontif, yeah.
There's a practical thing out here
Second day, I
because
was asking something. Go ahead, I can't hear you one more time.
yeah, it's kind of a practical thing out here because people are getting deliveries from Amazon on Shabbos, and then they're getting stolen. So, are we allowed to bring that into our house? I mean, it's certainly in the Arab here.
Right. Well, David Leib says that Rabbi Marlow allowed it. We just have to figure out why, and then we'll be good. What do you say?
Usually on the delivery,
Yantif, the Tchum Shabbos, Tchum Yantif applies
it's
also.
not doing it for you, they're doing it to the one that actually sent the packet. So it's not doing it like he delivered a
If,
packet
one
because the
second,
one
that's if somebody's sending you a present, but what if you're buying yourself a present?
Amazon, you order
the
something.
vendor is the one that he's the one that's shipping it.
Oh,
So
the
he's doing it
vendor shipped
It's
it.
for the vendor.
Right, his service is to bring it to your house.
That's an interesting point.
No, but you really paid for delivery. I mean, you pay.
No, but if
Whether it's
he's
10 days or 5 days or 2 days, it will try
We're free delivery.
for
my
free.
question is the ifir that you're asking is that if you could bring it inside your house.
No, it doesn't do it for me. You're doing it for the one that
Because if he just leaves it outside the house, you can't tell him, look, you just bring him inside. You just leave it
Officially,
there.
it's supposed to bring him
Can you transfer?
But if he
property?
doesn't, you can't tell him, bring him inside the house.
When you transfer,
By law,
can I give you something to
Yeah.
trade?
Really?
You're not allowed to acquire things. You're not allowed to acquire things on Shabbos.
Yeah.
You can't.
Cannot acquire
Can't
things on
acquire.
Shabbos.
So when they deliver it, are you acquiring?
It's checked. Working GPS, so I know.
I mean, you're not doing anything to acquire.
No, but if you tell them to put it inside.
That's not going to acquire. I don't know how legally. I don't know what acquires it, but that's not. I don't believe that's what's going to be the thing that makes it yours. I don't think so.
The guy can come. look at
I'm trusting a
It's the
guy.
last
I'm
thing
trusting
I'm
a UPS guy with a key.
Everything is
Yeah.
recorded, that's a camera. The guys, I have used it.
It's supposed to deliver it inside the office, not to bring it to the deck of the truck
Yeah,
and take it out, you know. Just like, I don't know.
It's called Amazon Key.
Amazon Cook. Wow.
How's it recorded?
They sell you the electronic lock and a camera. Everything is linked. The camera, everything is recorded when it comes in. So.
Alberto's going to discuss it. Alberto's going to discuss deliveries. That's funny. Davar she'ena melacha yud beis ve'en asel ases b'Shabbos elim shum shvus. Something that is not a malacha and it's only forbidden to do on Shabbos because of a shvus. Mutar li'solem leNochri ases b'Shabbos. A Jew can tell a gentile to do on Shabbos. Excuse me. V'hu she'yesham mixes choli. That's only if there's somewhat of an illness. Even though it's not affecting his entire body, nor is it affecting a limb to the extent that it's endangered. That's one example. Another example is for a mitzvah. leNochri Rosh Hashanah. Oh, see how the Alter changes it. Mechaber said on Shabbos, which we had trouble understanding. Alter changes it to Rosh Hashanah. And you can tell a goy to go up the tree on Rosh Hashanah. They love him to bring a shofar to blow. So he's not doing a malacha d'oraisa. Going up a tree is d'rabbanan.
Why is there a shofar on a tree?
Why is there a shofar on a tree? He was decorating the tree, or because he wanted to make this halacha practical. Or he's telling him to bring hot water from one yard to another if there's no air. Or to bathe a person who's extremely uncomfortable. Some say they also did not make a decree on a shvus in the case of a financial loss. Going the title, for example, to have a going move merchandise that is muktzah that is getting ruined by the rain. Moving muktzah is d'rabbanan. Or for that matter, to carry it into the house through a karmelis. One can rely on this opinion in the case of a great financial loss. Same is true about a great need, even if it's not a great loss. So we're left with 4 heterim. Heter number 1 is mikzas choili. Heter number 2 is mitzvah. Heter number 3 is hefsid gadol. And heter number 4 is tzorach gadol. Mikzas choili, mitzvah, hefsid meruba, and tzorach gadol. Yeah. Mechaber actually doesn't say hefsid. I believe it's the who is this? Ayin Hey? Rambam. It's the Rambam. I'm surprised that Mechaber doesn't mention it.
What was after Simanim?
Tzorach gadol. Maybe that's included in the Mechaber Tzarech Harbe. Tzarech Harbe includes Hefsek Gadol, I imagine. The great need. I mean, financial loss, the great need. Okay, this is only if the guy is doing it the same way he does it during the week. If he's doing it with the shinoi, that's a complete shvus, but Allah says if you let Yisrael magam tsar.
What is your example? I have example.
If you're doing it with the shinoi,
The God, why the God going to be the Shino?
no, the Jew,
Straight by the God.
no. That's only if he's doing it in the usual way. If you're doing it differently, even though it's a forbidden shvus,
So you're talking about the God.
mutter la soisa yafilu al yedei Yisrael b'makam tsar. You're allowed to do it even by a Jew in a case of tsar.
You know what is the things that the God will do the Shino that he is going to allow you to do it?
You're allowed to do it with a Jew. You don't have to have a guy do it.
Yeah, but what kind of things that God will do the Shino compared to?
We're not having the guy do it. We're having the Jew do it. The point is, when it's a derabanan that is being done with the shinoi, we're going to see in Shem Chav Ches that in some cases a Jew can do it himself. He doesn't have to have the guy do it. He can do it himself. A derabanan with the shinoi in a case of tsar.
Therefore, he's not asked the guy to do it.
That goes without saying. That's the whole point of the Alter Rebbe. You don't have to ask the guy. You can do it yourself.
That is in the case of which? In which case?
In the case of tsar.
Tsar.
In the case of tsar, a Jew himself can do a shvus, which is a derabanan, with a shinoi, like we're going to see. Some say that the same thing applies to a financial loss, that you're allowed to do a derabanan with a shinoi to prevent the financial loss. Sorry? Am I in Yud Gimel right now? Yud Beis, end of Yud Beis. So this is not an Amirah leNochri thing. This is a general thing. The Alter Rebbe is sharing with us a bit of good information that you can do a Shvus Dishvus personally, not through a guy. Normally we understand Shvus Dishvus means to have a goy do a derabanan. Here there's an example where a Jew can do a derabanan because he's doing it with a shinu. It's a double derabanan, so it's also Shvus Dishvus. And that is all that is allowed either b'makam tsar or b'makam hefsed gadol.
Tzarech gadol is tsar?
He says tsar and hefsed gadol. Is tzarech gadol also the same? I mean, usually they are, but I'm not sure.
So what if a Jew wants to turn off the light in his room with his elbow? Tzarech gadol is no, 2 in 1. Tried, he couldn't roast.
Is it the right? I mean, obviously, it's with the rice if you turn on the light with a shino or no?
Sorry?
Your question is if it's a new beginning that brings you sleep. So yeah, you can cover your eyes. What? You can cover your eyes. It's a light. But you don't have it.
Right, I'm saying cover your face with a pillow also, that's not very comfortable for sleeping.
I don't know. In Shin Chav Ches, the Alter Rebbe uses the word great suffering. Tsar gadol. I don't know.
Not be able to see it.
I don't know.
What's the tsar? You know what it means? I'm just saying, if not being able to sleep is not tsar gadol, what is tsar gadol?
If we're nursing mother,
No, maybe it's
not
a-
being able to sleep.
Something with refuah probably. Shabbos.
This is a horrible.
Examples that I know of that the Alter Rebbe allows through a Jew that I can think of right now is one is a Goneach Mike'ev Lev, a person who has some kind of pain in his heart, kind of chest pain.
This is already holy. This is not a before.
Right, exactly.
Holy, but where's it?
Well, no, but it's similar in terms of
So holy is how you can put it together. A different thing.
Alter Rebbe allows over there a person to nurse directly from a goat. That was the refuah of that particular condition. So it wasn't sakanas nefashos
No.
to nurse from the goat directly. That's not a. So it was not a sakanas nefashos.
But this is holy. It's not tzar. Talking about tzar.
What is the question exactly?
For example, tzar. Go. Probably not. I'll go to sleep with tzar. Like his own. By the way, you know those lights that turn on and off by clapping?
The last time you saw that was
Doesn't bump out.
I read that.
I heard about it.
Yeah.
Huh? It's gonna be shit, you know?
Everybody.
If I have to clap to turn the lights off because I cannot go to sleep. What?
What if you have clapping lights? Clapping lights are, that's the.
Yeah, that's the
Turn
machine.
on clap. Yeah, clap.
Oh,
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
my-
yeah. Chabad do clapping. No, Chabad Rebbe said, I heard I was in a Chabad shul, and the Chabad Rebbe said that someone was doing like this on Shabbos, and he said, the Rebbe said, no, this.
Would say no.
The Rebbe didn't say no. The Rebbe would clap. He didn't say no.
No, to somebody next to him who was clapping like this, he said, no, this. Who said this? I can tell you who said this.
Who said it?
I'll tell you who it was. I was in Alon Raz's shul in Hollywood. It's Or Chaim, and Rav, what was the rabbi from Sunny Isles? Rav Shayamar was there because his wife was giving birth in the hospital. He wanted to come for a minyan. So either one of those two, they're both together at the table. They said someone mentioned mentioned something he can't clap on Shabbos, and he said the story that someone was clapping next to him Shinoi, and he told him, don't clap Shinoi, clap like this.
Okay, I don't know.
What's the halacha? Is our Swan also not clapping?
No. So what is I'm not glad. I just never heard that the Rebbe told not to do the shit. Whatever. Okay, so in Shin Chav Ches Sif Chav, now the Rebbe says, Im loy nafal mishka, if a person is not bedridden, he's not in such pain that his entire body is weakened. But he does have great pain. You're allowed to do, a Jew is allowed to do a shvus with a shinui.
Which case is this?
This is a case of a person who is not sick enough to be bedridden and not in such pain that his whole body is weakened, but he's in great pain. That's the example that he gives, that you're allowed to do a Shvus Dishvus.
Wow.
It's not the same as the person who is trying to go to sleep. You understand? It's not the same.
You're exhausted.
I'm just telling you, it's not the same. He's talking about a person who is in actual pain. Not the same.
So nobody.
The person who's it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you're trying to sleep, know your head is hurting, you just want to go to sleep, you're exhausted, you can't sleep, lights on. I don't have this problem personally, I can sleep with the light on. But I'm just saying, someone who can't sleep with the light on, tossing and turning, waking up every 5 seconds, barely falling asleep, that's a big suffering.
I'm not going to sign on to the header. I'm not going to sign on to the header. Yes, question.
If you have, let's say, saga, splinter your to the bottom, and you'll have to take it out.
Taking out a splinter is not usher, as long as you do it in such a way that it will not necessarily bleed. Because even if it bleeds, it's not a psik ratio, it's a damashan miskab. Alter actually says that clearly. You're allowed to take out a splinter in such a way that may or may not bleed, because it's not your intention.
I have a friend who just asked me last Shabbos. Pretty much, his fan was on in his room, and when the fan is on with the air conditioning, it's for him too cold, and he woke up in the middle of the night feeling that he was about to get sick. Like he feels a little sick, and if it just continues the rest of the night, he's going to be sick by the morning. And it says it happens often that when it's on, his wife turns it on, and the air is on, so he gets sick the next morning. He doesn't feel well, etc. So he got up in the night and shut off the light. And I told him no.
The light or the
Sorry,
fan?
the fan. He shut off the fan.
With the shinu or stem?
That's the pillows. No, he shut off the fan regularly. He asked me if he did anything wrong. I said, yeah, if you did something wrong, you were allowed to. Maybe to tell him, go, you were allowed to, considering whatever. So sounds from here, or I'm asking actually, let's ask. If the case was that he knows he's going to get sick, it's a Badu Kamanu said that whenever the fan's on with the air conditioning, he does get sick. To save himself from getting sick, would he have been allowed to turn off the...
I must say that I did not go into this sugya of Shvus Dishvus al Yidei Yisro before this year. So I feel ill-prepared to give a psak. But I hear this far.
If somebody knows they have a propensity to get sick in that environment, why would they keep going back into it every Shabbos?
No, it doesn't happen every Shabbos. It happens on mistake.
What I'm saying is, if he knows he has a propensity to get sick in that environment.
Yeah, he doesn't put himself in that. Opposite. He doesn't put himself in that.
Yeah.
And on accident, his wife left on the fan.
So why couldn't he just leave it? Is that an easier way?
This person specifically wasn't at his house. So I don't know if there were other bedrooms he could have gone to.
It seems to me finding a way to remove yourself from that situation is easier.
Better. It's easier.
Just get a blanket.
It's better.
Get a
It's easier,
blanket.
but
It's not easier. It's not easier. It's better. It's not easier.
No,
It's easier. You can just turn off the light or turn off the fan. But better can be.
He can't help himself from just covering himself.
Yeah, no, he said it wouldn't. Sorry about that.
Okay, moving on to Sif Lamed Hey.
Is that but would that be more about a chola situation?
It's preventing a chola. It's preventing a chola. Generally, you're allowed to have a goy do malacha to prevent a chola for which he's allowed to do malacha. Any type of illness that a goy can do malacha for, he can also do malacha to prevent that illness. You understand? Yeah. So, but the question is, does the same apply to a Jew doing it? If it's a type of illness that a Jew could do a Shvus Dishvus himself, can a Jew also do a Shvus Dishvus to prevent it? I mean, logically, you would think yes. Again, I don't want to pass, but that's what you would think. Lamed Hey and Alter Rebbe. Lo yasu amir leNochri ela lasis b'shvil Yisrael. We skipped 34. We're going to learn about it. So 34 sends us to 325 for more information. So we're going to learn 325. Lamed Hey. Lo yasu amir leNochri ela lasis b'shvil Yisrael. It's forbidden for a Jew to tell a gentile to do work for a Jew. This is what I mentioned before. You're allowed to tell him to work for himself or for another guy. For example, even if a Jew will benefit. There's a fire in the guy's house. You can tell him, put out your fire, please. His interest is that it shouldn't get to his house. But Lemaisa, it's for the guy's own benefit in his own property, with his own stuff. You can tell him. If he is using your stuff for himself, you don't have to stop him. You can't tell him to use your stuff for himself, because then it looks like he's your shliach. But if he comes on his own and uses your stuff for himself, you don't have to stop him. Yes, but you can't drink from that coffee even if it's left over. That's correct. No. No. Because it says, because you might ask him to make more for you. But you might ask him to make more for you if you were allowed to. You're allowed to.
No, I thought the opposite. He might make more for you next time.
No, you might ask him to make more for you next time.
I thought Shemi or Bebi Shvilo is
And I said, you're going to make
value asking. Shemi or Bebi Shvilo, meaning you're going to tell him, you're going to drink from it. He's going to say, oh, when I baked it last time, he also enjoyed from it, so let me make more for him this time. Isn't that the classic case of Shemi or Bebi Shvilo?
You didn't ask him to do it.
No, you wouldn't. I'm still saying you wouldn't.
You put it once out the water. Why you didn't do it hot water?
We learned this already.
So we could enjoy it. You didn't tell him to do it.
Yeah, we said you can't. Same as the light. Anything that you're benefiting from in your body, we said you can benefit.
He did this for the God, for the Yid. He did it for himself, on his own.
I can say it again if you want, but it's not going to make a difference.
It's also for the sake of our knowledge. So every situation we have two Jews, you can conclude in a way, okay, tell him to go to do it for him, and then he has to go to do it for you. And then you can that a loophole.
The im yehemut lehanis yirmele lahadlik is what he says about a candle. If you're allowed to get benefit, then you might tell him to light. But you're asking about water. Let's discuss it.
Very fun. Go and plug it in. So he can focus on himself. On his own. You're allowed to use the water after.
No, you're absolutely not allowed to use the water afterwards.
Good.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. God knows. Pretty sure. Shemi Bebi Shvilo means that you're enjoying what he did on Shabbos. So next time he's going to say, oh, he enjoyed from the last time. Let me make more for him and me next time.
Maybe it's for himself in the beginning. He's not paying attention for you.
You listen to what I'm saying?
I
The
understand.
fact that the next week he's going to make extra for you because you drank with him last week, that's Shemi Bebi Shvilo. Never heard of that?
I had the expression, but nothing to do with this.
So Shemi, where's that specific plan? I thought that was the classic case.
This is pretty obvious, but I'm just sure it's not opposite for a Jew on opposite. such a so this was the Jew. So now you this was the going mental. So this Shemaya Bishra, so it did not extra manach. I thought we called
That's also true.
so this like Simanim.
Me, what I just said? No, I think that's also the classic case. The classic case is a Jew eating the food that a goy made is also. Because the next week he saw that, oh, I only made 2 eggs and was interested in one of them. So next week, instead of making 1 egg for himself, he'll make 2, so he'll have it.
Yeah, but no, I'm thinking about yeah.
Getting
But
rid
the
of
word is not an issue of order.
right, getting rid of the prohibition. Say water. He's cutting a salad, tacked out, which you're not allowed to do. It's tough. He's allowed to do it for himself, but then if you eat the leftovers of the salad, he's gonna say, "Oh, I'll make more for him next week." So he's doing judgment for him next week. That's getting out of the bishop.
Yeah.
Only for emergency, you don't let the goy to. I mean, you let the goy to use your tools.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Only for emergency, the goy allowed to use your tools for on Shabbat if he's taking it.
He can use your tools for himself, no problem. But for you, he can't use them.
Only for emergency or anytime?
No, anytime. For himself.
Yeah, for himself. Anytime?
Yeah, why not?
Marat Ain, we did study about Marat Ain.
For himself, it's not Marasayan.
Okay.
For himself, it's not Marasayan. Just trying to find it clearly in the Alter Rebbe. And it's late. The word is definitely Shema Yarba B'Shvilai. That's definitely the word that is used. But so what if he does Yarba B'Shvilai? So what's the issue? So what if he's Yarba B'Shvilai?
You're just not allowed to have enough on it?
I'm saying, so what if he does Yarba B'Shvilai? Why is that a problem?
You're just not allowed to have enough on it?
I think the whole problem of Yarba B'Shvilai is that then, when he'll be Yarba B'Shvilai, then you'll ask him, what's wrong with having enough? Or it does something for you.
No, meaning eating. Meaning,
If you eat it, then you'll ask him to do it. I think it's all about that.
he's saying that. No, he's saying like this. What's the problem with it? If you're not going to eat it, let him do whatever he wants. Do whatever. I didn't ask him. If he did something for me, I didn't enjoy it. So what's the problem? There's no problem. But he's saying that if you're going to enjoy from it, so you might ask him to do it.
Yeah, that's what it says. Shema Yarba B'Shvilai. It's in Shin Yud Ches, Seif Hey. And there he also sends you to Shin Chaf Ches Yud Ches. So those are the sources. That, yeah, you definitely cannot use any of that water because next time he might do more for you. But I think the underlying thing is if he does it.
Regarding the water, if the goy plug it by himself to make himself coffee, boil the water.
I'm not going to change my mind. I mean, you can say it again. I'm not going to change my mind, but go ahead, yeah. from your opinion. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion.
Let's say I had this case actually. Someone asked me this.
Yeah.
There was a cleaning lady. She saw. Well, she needs to prepare lunch, so she puts it on the plata, and she puts the plates out, etc. Food is cooked.
Yeah.
So she just warms it up on the plata. She saw the plata was off, so she plugged in the plata, cleaned the plata, and then put the stuff on, and then everyone ate from it, including the cleaning lady. So the psak I got was since the cleaning, maybe I even asked the other question. Since the cleaning lady was also eating, so she was doing it for herself. But if she wouldn't have been eating, what?
But Shemayar Vishula, what does that mean?
In which case? The case that she was eating with them?
Yeah, what does it make a difference?
Since she was eating with them, so she needed it on for herself. There's no Shema. There's no.
Oh, you mean the turning of it on is not Shemayar.
Yeah, well, the food you can.
And the heating, she was heating things that you're allowed to heat.
Yeah. That was the question was.
Yeah, that I hear. That I hear. Okay, let me just finish the sif and then we'll call it a night. When do we say this? If the guy comes on his own. But you can't tell the guy, take my kelim and do your malacha with it on Shabbos. Even if he gives it to him, he says, listen, I have this steak. I don't need it. Take it. Make it. Enjoy it. Even if you're not responsible to feed him. You don't benefit from him doing it for himself. You lose. Since you're telling him to do malacha with your stuff, as a it looks like you're shliach. Even though he means it for himself. If the goy comes on his own and takes your kelim and uses them on Shabbos for himself, you don't have to stop him. But you're not allowed to tell him to use it, even for himself. Okay, Lamed Vav is where he starts talking about bringing deliveries on Shabbos. So we're going to have to talk about that next week, together with Shin Chaf Hei, which is the halachas of benefiting from the work done by Goyim. And I was planning to also review all of these halachas and then start on Tuesday of Hanukkah the next topic, which is Muktzah. But I don't know if I'll be able to finish all of that in 2 hours.
Rabbi,
We are taking Monday night off and we're learning on Tuesday night. And my plan was to start Muktzah. But if we do not successfully finish it next week in the broadcasts, which are scheduled for 2 to 3 on Monday and on Tuesday, sorry. If I don't successfully finish Shin Zayin and Shin Chav and review of all of the above, then we'll have to maybe save the review for Hanukkah. That is the tentative 2 options.
Yeah.
I actually saw it.
What was the broadcast about? Did I miss it?
Oh, you were in here last night?
No.
Next Monday night, I have to go up to Boca to Farbrengen. And then Tuesday night, people want to go to the Farbrengens. It's different Farbrengen. You just kissed it. It was a big day in Chabad.
I'm actually going to be out of town. I'm in Israel.
Okay, perfect.
But the broadcast will be in person.
So I'm going to do the broadcast at 2 p.m. on both days for an hour each day. I'm going to also record it and post it on the WhatsApp, so it'll be easier to listen to in the car or whatever.
And
that's the plan.
And then the following Monday is off, so then Tuesday.
Exactly. Mirz Hashem.
When's the golf start?
Monday night. That's the
what I was
thing.
going to say. That's all.
Yeah. All right, my friends.
I won't be.
Very quiet from all my computer students. I hope everything is clear.
Hashameach.